Shalom and welcome to the weekend edition of the Daily Dose of Hebrew. Today we're looking at Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 19. In the previous verses we've seen this long announcement of impending judgment coming against God's people, and in verse 18 we saw the reaction of Jeremiah himself listening to his words, telling us how his heart is crushed and broken and faint because of what he sees coming. And in verse 19 here, at least the first part of it, we're going to continue hearing Jeremiah's words. So let's go ahead and read the text in Hebrew as we get started. Hine kol shevat bat ami me'eretz marchakim ha'adonai ein betzion im malka ein ba madua hichisuni bivsilehem behalve nekar. So we start with hine, behold, and then we're going to have actually a 1, 2, 3, 4 part construct chain here. The sound, sometimes we translate voice, but sound would fit better here. The sound of the cry. This is usually shev'ah, usually with a hey at the end, but this is in construct state, so we find it with the tau. And this means a cry or a call for help, an appeal, but a loud cry for help. So the sound of a cry for help of the daughter of my people. So again, with this, the idea of daughter of my people, a little bit of an affectionate, heart-rending thing that's going on here. And because it's my people, with this pronoun suffix, first-person suffix at the end, it makes all of these definite all the way through the whole construct chain. So it's the sound of the cry of the daughter of my people. From a land, so that's just our preposition min. And again, we reject the nun, so it lengthens the hirek into a full sere. From a land, and a land of distances. You may recognize rahak, the idea of being far away in the middle. And merchak, usually written with a segol underneath the mem, but here it's plural. Merchak means something, a distant place. So this is a land of distances. So it may be like from far and wide, from every direction almost. It's we're hearing this cry coming from all over, from very far away, and no matter where you look, you're hearing it. And what are we hearing? Adonai. Now, we're not usually used to seeing an article with Adonai, and we're actually not seeing an article here. This is actually the hey interrogative, which would be written like this, but because of Adonai that we have here and the vowels that would normally go with that, it just takes this regular pathak here. So it's a little bit unusual in its form, and again, don't be tricked into thinking it's an article here. So this is a hey interrogative, and so it's Yahweh, and then our negative particle of existence, so he is not in Zion. So this is the other name for Jerusalem. So this is a question. Adonai, is he not? The Lord, is he not in Zion? Or, and remember when we have a two-part question, this or this, we don't usually repeat a second hey interrogative, but you usually use im, if. And so this is sort of the continuation of the question. So the Lord, is he not in Zion? And the king, or her king, actually, this is a suffix. This is a 3fs suffix. So it's Zion, which is feminine. Zion's king, is he not in her? Again, 3fs suffix over here referring to Zion. So why is the Lord absent? He's not in Zion. His king, the Lord isn't there. Her king is not there. Probably referring to Yahweh. Madua, why? Now, this word here, we've seen before in Jeremiah, and it's not too difficult if we break it off. Let's take off the pronoun suffix at the end, the ni. This is going to be a first common singular suffix. And then we have a he at the beginning and an u at the end. And you also have this I-class vowel here, although it's not fully written. So this, with this u formative at the end, would make us think that we're dealing with a perfect, and that's what we have here. It's going to be a third common plural. And with the he at the beginning and this I-class vowel here, this is going to be a hifil from the verb ka'as, with those three consonants which are there. Now, ka'as in the cow means to be vexed, but in the hifil would be to cause to be vexed. In other words, to provoke or to anger. So why they have angered or they have vexed me with, this is a bait of instrument, with their pronoun suffix here. It's going to be a 3MP suffix. And This noun here, pasil, it's usually written pasil, it's usually with this, and then more fully written like that. So pasil, like that, which means a carved image or an idol, from this idea of hewing something out. So why have they provoked me with their carved images, with their idols, and with, and you recognize this word? It's the word hevel. If you've ever studied or read Ecclesiastes in Hebrew, you've seen this word a lot. This is a word for vanity, but it's often used in the sense of idol as well. So, and literally what we have here is, notice this was a plural over here, by the way. We didn't mention that, but it's idols, because this would normally be im. And same thing over here. So here we have with vanities of foreignness. Nikah is a word which means something that's foreign, from a foreign country. So with foreign vanities, in other words, vanities of foreignness. So they've been, now notice one thing is that we have passed in this first part over here, Jeremiah has heard this voice. This is Jeremiah speaking at the first part. What he's hearing are the words of the people asking, where's the Lord? I thought he was going to deliver us. Isn't that his job, to deliver us? And is he our king? And where's the king that's supposed to deliver us? And now when we get to why have they provoked me, where obviously this is Yahweh who's the speaker. And so in this part of the verse, so we have Jeremiah speaking here, and then he's quoting the people here, what he's hearing, and then this is Yahweh speaking in this third line down over here. So there's our work right there. Let's go ahead and hide that and look at a couple translations. There's not an awful lot of variation in them. Hine, behold, pick it up in the NIV, listen to the cry of my people. Now they've kind of condensed this down, because literally we have the sound of the cry of the daughter of my people, and they've kind of combined that in to the cry of my people. That's okay, but it's a little more elaborate in the Hebrew. From a land far away, is the Lord not in Zion? Is her king no longer there? You don't have the idea of longer, but is her king not there? So that's a slight interpretation, but that's understandable here. Why have they aroused my anger with their images, with their worthless foreign idols, with their worthless, I like that for hevel, this vanity of foreignness. And then another translation here in the New Jerusalem Bible, one that we're not used to looking at too often. They start with this old word, hark, which isn't bad, actually, for hine. From the daughter of my people, the cry for help. So they've kind of flipped this over here, reversed these two. The sound of the cry for help from the daughter of my people. So they've kept the daughter in there and elaborated that a little bit. Ringing far and wide throughout the land. So from a land of distances. So this is interpretive here. There's a little bit of a paraphrase going on here. Ringing far and wide. That actually probably gets the idea. It's what they're hearing from all over. Is Yahweh no longer in Zion? Her king no longer there? I mean, isn't Yahweh supposed to bring us deliverance when the opposition comes? Well, yes, normally if you were an obedient, submissive people, but they've rejected God's word, and now the destruction comes. And then in parenthesis, they put, why, this is the Lord speaking obviously, why have they provoked me with their idols, with their futile foreign gods? So we can see what's going on here. Jeremiah hearing the cry of the people, and yet God's saying, look, they have brought this upon themselves, and now they seem to be surprised that it's happening. Isn't that often the case? Where our sin brings our own punishment sometimes and correction from the Lord, and yet we don't want to admit it. It's often been the case with God's people throughout the ages. May the Lord help us to not fall into that very trap there, but to always keep close and sensitive hearts before him. We'll check back with us soon as we continue working toward the end of this chapter 8 in Jeremiah in the weekend edition of the Daily Dose of Hebrew. Shalom.